Okay, hey there, guys. Welcome to Beyond the Creaky Door. Hopefully, I've got everything set up correctly. Because I've only got one screen and I can't do multiple things with one screen. Okay, so one announcement tonight, and that is the Sacred Journey Market in Eastgate, up in Ohio. That is at the Holiday Inn Eastgate. And that is this Saturday and Sunday. And it's going to be a good event. I was supposed to be there this weekend with my tuning forks and my singing bowls doing healing vibrations. But due to some financial difficulties, I had to withdraw at the last moment. So I won't be there. But Spirit Mechanics will be there. Rocky Hounds will be there. Blinky's Magical Creations will be there. There's going to be a lot of great vendors. They do a lot of stuff throughout. I think they're going to be doing Bingo Tarot. So, I'm not exactly 100% sure about what that is all about. But, it sounds like fun. Okay, let's see. Any other announcements? No, I do not think so. Let's see. As I'm tapping my table. You can catch me tomorrow night on the Missing Elements Remix Show. I will be doing tarot card readings. Mechanics should be doing card readings on Thursday night. Then there's the big event, and then I'm not sure what's going on after that, because I think the next event I'm planning on doing is the Central Kentucky Mystical Market, and right off the top of my head, I do not know the dates of that. Boy, this is weird doing this solo. I really miss Jacob. But I'm surviving. And I do not have access to YouTube, so if you leave any comments, I appreciate it, but I cannot see them. So, tonight, we are going to be talking about a mythical creature, or a so-called mythical creature. We are going to be discussing werewolves. Okay? The werewolf comes from the Old English term were, meaning man, and wolf, meaning wolf. So the first one is W-U-L-F, meaning W-O-L-F. So if you put those two words together, that would be man-wolf or wolf-man. But WLF also can mean the word hunter, which would change the term to man-hunter. So, I mean, Wolfman in the movies, he's always hunting men and women. So, that's what makes him scary. But, in the German town of Bedburg, a bunch of mass killings and mutilations of cattle took place between the years of 1564 and 1589. Now, this is just one of the many stories from the past, because there was many stories before this that also took place. And it was claimed that it was wolf attacks, which in one attack, the supposedly paw was cut from a wolf, which was used in the trial of Peter Stump. Now, Peter Stump was a wealthy farmer. but he went by many aliases. So I'm not sure why he went by many aliases if he was a wealthy farmer. But the story was said that the wolf that had its paw chopped off went running into the woods, and then he came out of the woods missing his hand missing the same hand that was the paw missing from the wolf. So he was guilty. He was found guilty and was then basically tortured to confessing to all of these crimes. Okay, guys. He was tortured and executed by they strapped him to a breaking wheel which tore flesh from his body and breaking his bones. I cannot imagine. I would probably, I don't know, I'd probably confess to everything. So, I don't know. That sounds terrible. But he was then beheaded, and his head was put on a pick. Or a stake that set above a wooden carved wolf. Okay, guys, that's just one of the stories of werewolves back in the day. Give me just 1 second. I got somebody texting me. So, now, you get the werewolves, but there are a lot more creatures than a wolf that are were creatures. Just the wolf is the most common. That is the one that everybody knows of and knows about. There are also were tigers, were bears, and even were rats. But like the story about Stump, that's just one of many. The wolf stories goes back as far as 40,000 years or longer. And it's all mixed up. It started with stories stating that wolves would come. This is where it all starts. Back in the good old days, the wolves would actually come into the settlements to ravage for scraps to eat. Then they got friendly with the humans, and the humans began to domesticate them. They would be used as a way to protect and as companions on hunting trips. So, what they said would end up happening is that the humans would see the strength of the wolf and the loyalty to their packs. So it would seem that the humans started to wonder what it would be like to become a wolf. So, I mean, that is actually pretty cool. Because wolves are actually pretty awesome. But there's many ways to consider about the wolves. Okay? As you all are hearing, I'm just saying wolves. I do not like the term werewolves for the simple fact that we have made werewolves basically evil. Okay? Horror films, everything we say about them, we're basically saying that they are evil. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, I am Tyree. And I'm coming to you live from 1018 East New Circle Road, Lexington, Kentucky. We are at the Missing Elements shop. And that is Suites 114 and 112. Sorry about that, guys. I went brain dead. Imagine that. So, the things with werewolves are wolves, because I don't like the term werewolf. Are they victims? Are they warriors? Or are they the damned? I mean, how would you consider it? If you consider them victims, it is said that they were cursed. The biggest story I found with this would be a story that has to do with Ishtar. And it is a story that a shepherd who took a liking to Ishtar and would leave her offerings and stuff daily to try to vie for her attention. And basically it was saying that she would accept his offerings and then push him for more offerings and more offerings. She was basically teasing him. Then she got bored with him. In order to get him to stop, she changed him to a wolf. But the thing is that he gets changed to a wolf, and then being in wolf form, he ends up being torn apart by his own dogs. Now, could you imagine that? You got the likes of Ishtar getting bored with you and turning you into a werewolf that ends up getting pulled apart by your own damn dogs. Sorry, this is an 18 plus show. Sorry. I don't have my ticker up yet. I mean, could you imagine that kind of curse being put on you? Just because somebody got bored with you. But as warriors, it was the humans who chose to adopt the wolf, basically wolf guises. They believed that putting like the wolf skins on as clothing or as like basically like a cape or just wearing the wolf fur and stuff, they seem to think that it empowered them with strength and power that goes along with being the wolf. I mean, wolves do protect. They will fight tooth and nail to protect. So yeah, it would be awesome to have the power of the wolf. You'd be able to do anything. But then Germanic tribes had what was known as wolf warriors. So that would be even cool too. But the turning into a wolf form, it ranges across many cultures. Not just one culture. It was many cultures. So it's more than just like one person saying one thing and it's supposed to be the truth, that this is the way it's supposed to be. Guys, this came across many cultures. Now the damned are those that are transformed for their violent and immoral deeds. These are the ones that are feared and despised, for these are the ones representing the dark side of the human nature. So in ancient times, transformation, the settlement to ravage, the scraps to... Whoa, I just went to the wrong thing. Let me find out where I was. In ancient times, the transformation between human and beast was a thin line, and the cause was said to be that of violating sacred taboos. In which these are the stories that laid the ground for the varied mythology that followed them. So this is what some of these horror movies and horror stories are based on. But they overstep the boundaries of what exactly a werewolf is. So, we go from that, and then all of a sudden, as Europe decides to go through the change from paganism to Christianity, the myths underwent significant changes to fit with the new religious and cultural beliefs. Werewolves went from being real creatures, deeply rooted in folklore, and it began to start viewing these stories through different lenses. They viewed pagan, and therefore they were viewed that it was sinful, because they were taught that God only had the power to transform a person into a creature. In which there are stories in the Bible that God transforms people. As I hit my microphone, sorry guys. But that's where it's got to the start that the talk of werewolves was either madness or evidence of demonic influence. And that's when all the folklore and all the mythology became a symbol of heresy and evil. And it was used by the church to instill fear and enforce religious conformity. I have nothing against Christians. I have nothing against the Bible. I do have stuff against the church, but that's my personal beliefs, and we won't discuss that here. But by the 16th century, the church's stance on werewolves has shifted. It had went from being seen as evil to not being sinful. And it is basically being said that all of this change was probably driven by the church's failed attempts to eradicate the belief in werewolves. Because the church could not get rid of them. Could not get rid of the stories. Could not get rid of everybody saying, hey, werewolves are probably real. Who knows? But also came along the other evil that took hold, and that was witchcraft. Because we do know that witchcraft was a bad time in our history. People were being killed, tortured, mutilated, everything. Because somebody went around and said, hey, she's a witch, he's a witch, they're witches. I mean, here in the United States, we have the Salem witch trials, which could be a show during Halloween. I'll have to think about that one and talk it over with Jacob. So, but by the end of the 18th century, both werewolves and witches became intertwined with each other. That way, anybody who was believed to be a werewolf, anybody who was believed to be a witch, was hunted down and killed. I mean, they were... because the church taught the people that the church was teaching everybody that people that were transformed as punishment for their sins, and that this was done by the devil, not God. Like I was saying, guys, I have my own views about religion, about church, and all of that. I keep them to myself. I may end up doing a podcast that has to do with religion, but I am working on it, but I'm not 100% sure that it was going to be taken off, because I don't want to be sounding like some butt. But like I said, I do have my own opinions, and I will keep them to myself. So now, we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of stuff. So, the Greek word lycos means wolf. Anthropos means man. When you combine them, you get lycanthropy. Which means wolfman syndrome. And this term was first used by the Greek physician Marcellus, and he used it to describe men who acted like wolves. But with the modern science, the myth started being looked at through a more so-called rational lens. One thing being that the idea of lycanthropy being a mental illness, but they also claim that this could be due to hallucinations and delusions caused by drugs. Imagine that, guys. Drugs. Ooh, bad drugs. Well, you could also get them from mushrooms too. So that's the way that modern science is looking at this. But you also have to look at the other side of the coin and think of it as metaphysical stuff. So the metaphysical side of things, lycanthropy involves the spiritual, energetic, and psychological transformation. This transformation into a wolf, focusing on embracing one's wild side and connecting with the feral energy. That's it, guys. You got to have both the feminine and the masculine energy. It's got to be a balance. Which means you got your good side, you got your bad side. You got your light side, you got your dark side. You got to have both to have a balance. And in order to have that balance, you've got to become one with your dark side as well as your light side. You can't be a goody two-shoes 24/7. Sorry. If you're a goody two-shoes 24/7, that means you're perfect. And nobody's perfect. I can contest to that. But if you connect to this, if you're being told to connect to a wolf side of things, this is a way to show loyalty to your pack. And guys, the loyalty to your pack doesn't mean just your blood family. It is your community outside your blood family. It's your family that is not blood. That is just much of your everything. So, I mean, I don't know how you all are going to view all of this. I know how I view it. Yes, they say that lycanthropy is a mental illness. Dudes, I've known, I know, I have known, and I know a couple of people that are basically wolves. And one of the guys was a great guy. He would battle for anybody and everybody if he felt they needed him to battle for them. So all this bullcrap that werewolves are bad and evil and blah blah blah, no. It's all about the intention put into everything. We do not have any. You would know if you met a bad wolf. Point blank. You know if you meet a good wolf. But the thing is, you got to know that they're a wolf. You got to know that you got to figure out how to tell everything apart. And like I said, I really miss Jacob, because this we could have a two-way conversation, and this would have really taken off a lot further. And I really like that my backdrop actually looks like it's got lightning streaks flashing. That is totally cool. But, okay guys, I think that's all I have for tonight. I really was hoping that this would go longer, but evidently it's not. So I want to thank you guys for joining me for Beyond the Creaky Door. I am actually working on putting a show together that I'm actually working on putting video and stuff together to actually drop a investigation show. It was just a short investigation that we did last year, and after we just sort of like did it and then just basically dropped it. We didn't do anything with the evidence. And then we decided, Jacob remembered something. He went and checked it. He said we caught something, and I'm now going through the evidence myself, and I've actually caught some stuff myself. So it's actually pretty cool. So I am working very hard. I should be able to drop that in the next couple of weeks. So I want to thank you guys, love you guys, and we will see you beyond the creaky door.